Good morning, grade 4 girls. How are you today? Today we will take a new lesson. How do scientists answer questions? Today is Monday, 6 April 2020. All of you open pages 315, 316, and 317 and write the date. Learning objectives. To know some different methods scientists use to answer questions. Now, scientific investigation and reasoning. Scientific investigation and reasoning are organized ways to answer questions and solve problems. Now, we have to do experiments, observations, models, surveys, and sampling. Now, scientific method. What is the meaning of the scientific method? Are organized ways to answer questions and solve problems. Now, scientific method helps scientific draw conclusions. Scientists do not always use the same methods. They are not follow the methods in rigid order. Scientists record their method so it can be repeated accurately. Now, you will use scientific method when you do experiment. When you do any experiment, you have to use a scientific method. Now, scientific method include experiments. Like what you have to do? Experiments, observation, you use your 5 senses, surveys, and sampling. In a survey, scientists ask people a number of questions and then analyze the answers. A survey might help scientists find the source of an illness. For example, sampling is another way of collecting data. Scientists may take sample of a population of a group of people. They might catch, test, and release birds to see if they are healthy. Now, in question number 1, all of you underline the definition of scientific method. Again, what is the meaning of scientific method? Who can tell me? Scientific methods are organized ways to answer questions and solve problems. Now, in question number 2, evaluate. Cross out the statement that is not true. Survey are one type of scientific method. Is it true or no? Yes, it's true. Now, the scientific method follows a rigid order. The scientific method follows a rigid order. It's wrong. Excellent. Now, so all of you put X on number in the second sentence. Scientists make careful observation. Yes, true. But which one not true? The scientific method follows a rigid order. Now, this is scientific studies the habits of petrels. This is a kind of birds live near to the sea. Ask questions. Suppose the scientist in the picture below want to see how petrels care for their young. What scientific methods can she use to answer her question? Can tell me this answer? Okay. Observations, experiments, and samples. Again, the scientific methods we use it, observations, experiments, samples. Now, a controlled experiment. How high does a ball bounce on different surfaces? We have a ball and we have different surfaces, smooth, rough, and it's different surfaces we have here. Okay, smooth and rough. Now, we have to ask a question. State your hypothesis. Identify and control variables. Test your hypothesis. Collect and record your data. Interpret your data. State your conclusion. Try it again. Now, a bouncing ball experiment. You can try it at your home. Bounce the ball into different surfaces, a kind of surfaces. Science begins with an observation. For example, you may notice that a ball bounces differently in different rooms. These two pages show a series of steps that can you use to design and conduct a bouncing ball experiment. The first one, asking questions. As I told you, ask a question. You might have a question about something you observe. As example, the question is, how high will the ball bounce on different surface? How high will the ball bounce on different surface? Now, state your hypothesis. State your hypothesis. What is the meaning of hypothesis? Is a possible answer to your question. Again, what is the meaning of hypothesis? Is a possible answer to your question. It often predicts on outcome of an experiment. Write it as if, then, because statement. If I drop the ball, then I will bounce highest on the rubber mat because the rubber mat is most flexible. The rubber mat is most flexible. This is a rubber mat. Now, identify variables. What is the meaning of what is this? The variables are things that can change. Things that can change. Here the surfaces change. For fair test, choose just one variable to change. Keep the other variables the same. In this experiment, there are three types of variables. The independent variable is the thing that you change. In this experiment, the surface is independent variable. The thing you must measure or observe is the dependent variable. Here, the dependent variable is how high the ball bounces. How high the ball bounces. Controlled variables are things you keep the same so they do not affect dependent variable. Now here, test other surface bounce the ball of wood, carpet, and rubber. We have wood, we have carpet, we have rubber. Now test your hypothesis. Make a plan to test your hypothesis. We collect materials and tools, then follow your plan. Each time you test the surface is collect a trial. Each time you test, we call it a trial. Trial number 1, trial number 2, trial number 3. Now, repeat each trial 3 times. Each trial repeated 3 times. On each surface, repeat, it means 3 times. Now, collect and record your data. Collect and record your data. Keep good records of what you do and find out. You can use tables and pictures to help you. Interpret your data, organize your notes and records to make them clear. You can make diagrams, charts, or graphs to help you. Now state your conclusion. Your conclusion is a decision you make based on your data. Now communicate what you find out. Tell whether your data supports your hypothesis. The data did not support my hypothesis. The ball bounced highest when it dropped into the piece of wood. Now try it again. Try it again. Do the experiment a few more times. You can make the experiment a few more times. The result of one experiment might not be right. Maybe there's a mistake in this experiment, so you have to do it more than one time. Be sure to do everything exactly the same each time. Now let's answer our questions. Open your books. Number four, question number four, who can read it for us? Okay. Identify what are some of the control variables. What is it, some of control variables? The answer is the height the ball is dropped from the ball itself. Excellent answer. Now, who can read question number five for us? Number five, generate, write a new hypothesis about how the ball will bounce on different surfaces. Yes, excellent. If I drop the ball, then it will bounce the highest on the wood because the wood is the hardest surface. The wood is the hardest surface. So if I drop the ball, then it will bounce the highest on the wood because the wood is the hardest surface. Now, question number six, who can read it for us? Okay, text feature. Why are pictures shown with same of steps? With same of the steps. The pictures helped other scientists who will repeat the experiment. So the pictures help other scientists who will repeat the experiment. Now, question number seven, who can read it for us? Predict. Tell how the outcome of the experiment might change when the experiment is repeated. If the experiment is done the same way, the data should point to the same conclusion. If the experiment repeated into the same way, so the data should point to the same conclusion. Thank you, my dear students, for your listening, and we will complete our lesson tomorrow, inshallah.